Hello, everyone. I am Sean, and welcome once again to my Horror Corner. As always, thank you so much for watching the video today. I really do appreciate that. And for those of you who have become subscribers, an extra thank you to you. The numbers have gone up a little bit here in the last couple of days, and so I really do appreciate the new subscribers and those of you that have stuck with it. Thank you so much. That really does mean more to me than you can possibly imagine. So today we are going to be talking zombies, and we're going to be talking World War Z from 2013. Starring Brad Pitt. This was just the second time that I had ever watched this movie. I saw it when it first came out, and then for some reason I just never did a rewatch on this one. So there was a lot of things that I did not remember about this film. I think honestly the only thing I did remember is the whole zombie building the wall thing, which I thought was really cool. I mean, that's not something we had ever seen before, but that's really about the only thing from this movie I remember. So it was fun getting to go back and do a rewatch on this one and not really remembering too much about it. It's one that I had no idea coming into. I couldn't even remember if I liked the movie or not. I was thinking I did, but I wasn't sure how much. And so, yeah, it was a lot of fun going back into something that I couldn't remember much about, and didn't wasn't even real sure how I felt about it because, I really I like zombie movies, but I don't even know where zombie films rank as far as my favorite subgenres in horror. I mean, obviously we've talked about it. Slashers are my favorite, but after that, I don't know. I love the old Universal monster stuff from back in the day. Big fan of movies, and I guess alligators, crocodiles, snakes, creature features, that kind of thing. But yeah, there's some zombie movies out there that I'm a huge fan of as well. So I really don't know where they rank. I mean, I know I like slashers more, but other than that, I'm not sure. There are some really good ones, and yeah, but just all of that to say, I had a lot of fun getting ready to go in and watch this one again. Let me put my glasses on so I can kind of go through my notes here and read a little bit. Start with as always, a overview of the film. Life for former United Nations investigator Gary Lane and his family seems content. But suddenly the world is plagued by a mysterious infection, turning whole human populations into rampaging and mindless zombies. After barely escaping the chaos, Lane is persuaded to go on a mission to investigate this disease. What follows is a perilous trek around the world where Lane must brave horrific dangers and long odds to find answers before human civilization fails. Released June 2nd, 2013 at Empire Cinema, and then it had its I guess it premiered June 2nd. Then it had its big release June 21st in 2013. Directed by Mark Forster. Screenplay by Matthew Michael Carnahan, Drew Goddard, and Damien Lindelof. Story by Matthew Michael Carnell McGinn and J. Michael Straczynski. Based on the novel World War Z from Max Brooks back in 2006. Produced by Brad Pitt, Dee Gardner, Jeremy Kleiner, and Ian Bryce. Cinematography done by Ben Saracen. Music by Marco Beltrami. Distributed by Paramount Pictures. A runtime of 116 minutes. Budget of 190 million. Box office 540 million. So did very well. Rotten Tomato scores are 67% from critics, 72% from the audience, and then an IMDb score of 7.0 out of 10. Cast for the film. I'm just going to name a couple of names here. There's a lot of people in this movie, so I'm just going to name a couple. Brad Pitt, of course, as Gerald Lane. Muriel Enos as Karen Lane. Daniela Kurtzis as Segan, and James Badgedale as Captain Spake. Like I said, a lot of people in this film. We'll stop there, though, long enough to talk about the characters and the cast. I feel like everybody did a good job in this film. I'm not really typically a Brad Pitt fan, to be honest, but I think he does a good job in this film. Yeah, I mean, I don't think everybody does fine. I don't think there's really anything to go into a lot of detail about. Um, Again, I don't think anybody gave a bad performance. I think everyone does a good job. As far as liking the characters, I mean, yeah, you like the family. You like, Jerry and his wife Karen and their kids. The one patrol or the one officer soldier there that is trying to help him towards the end. I think they were pronouncing her name Sagan. I could be wrong. Um, you seem to like her. I think that there's not a lot of people in this film that you get to be around for very long, other than these few. But I mean, yeah, I don't think anything just really stands out big time as far as liking the characters, and I don't think anything stands out as far as the actors themselves. But again, that doesn't mean that anybody did a bad job. I think everything is fine. Um, Everyone does a good job. Characters are fine. I do want to mention a lot of times I've said this before. The score doesn't really catch my attention in films. Sometimes yes, sometimes not at all. I did notice it a little bit in this movie, and I liked it. I thought the score was good. I thought the film looks good. The cinematography is good. So yeah, nothing really to complain about as far as those kind of things. Just a few things I'll mention as far as behind the scenes type things. This is the highest grossing zombie film of all time. A sequel was announced shortly after the film's release, but then it was canceled in February of 2019 due to budget issues. And then the most interesting thing I thought, because I can just imagine the chaos that this caused, was during filming in Budapest, the Hungarian counter-terrorist center raided a warehouse where the guns were delivered for props. Just a lot of the, you know, not real stuff going on here, but 85 rifles and handguns were taken because the shipment had not been cleared when it was flown in on a private aircraft overnight, which alerted authorities and they sent this anti-terrorist group out. They find all these guns. Yeah, it caused quite the uproar and the turmoil when they were trying to film this, and I can only imagine how chaotic everything got. But those charges were eventually dropped. So that's kind of the only behind the scenes things I have to really mention about this one. So let's get into the plot and kind of walk through this and give my opinion as we go. We open this film up with the family. We get our brief introduction to them, and we kind of hear on the news in the background that there's a lot going on. That there is some, I believe we hear about some rioting in some areas and people being encouraged to stay maybe indoors. There's just, you could tell from the news reports that there was something very mysterious and something, major going on. The family does get out, and then they end up getting caught in traffic. And that's when the major part of the outbreak seems to happen. Um, there is a scene where there's a truck that explodes because of them being stuck in traffic. Brad Pitt's character Jerry begins to notice that something's wrong, that this is not just a typical traffic jam. He gets out to kind of look around, and there's a scene that, um, yeah, I don't really want to say it's a jump scare, but it does kind of catch you off guard and make you, kind of like, wow, holy shit, what the hell? He gets out of his car and he's looking around and he sees all these cops going by. There's been this explosion. There's some other people getting out of their car and taking off running. And as he's standing out there, this motorcycle cop pulls up and tells him to get back in his car. And so he does. He gets back in his car. And then as the motorcycle cop is sitting there kind of yelling at him to stay inside, a truck comes along and just plows into this motorcycle cop, and you just, it's so fast, but it's just one of those things you didn't see it coming, or at least I didn't see it coming, and I didn't remember it. So, some good, again, they're not really jump scares, but things that kind of catch you off guard, surprise you a little bit, and so yeah, I mean that's kind of what we get. Um, and then we get what I think is a fun scene, because then they realize they're not going to be able to get anywhere in their car, and so Gary and his family get out and begin to try to escape. And he's noticing people are turning into these zombies. He's starting to see these people attacking other people, that kind of thing. And you get them trying to escape. You see the looting that's taking place in the middle of all of this. They go into a pharmacy to try to get a few things that they would need, and he's on the phone and he's talking to people back at the UN, and they are sending a helicopter to a building to try to rescue him and his family. But there's just so much that goes on in this scene. But this is a very action-heavy movie. I think it's much more action than it is horror, but I feel like it's paced very well, and it's not. Even though there's a lot of action, I think it does. Sometimes horror movies are so much action that they don't even feel horror at all. This is close, but I feel like the action is so much related to the situation that's going on that it still stays close to that horror genre. Um, and I think it's all done really well. It's paced really well. I do, like I said, enjoy this scene where they're trying to get to this apartment and stay out of the streets while people are being attacked. And even once they do get into the apartment, he's trying to barricade the door so that they can get up to the roof. They come across another family who initially lets them into their apartment while they try to come up with a plan. But then when Gary and his family leave, this family doesn't want to go. They want to stay into their apartment. And then as Gary and his family get closer to the roof, you can tell that this other family is now being attacked in their apartment by the zombies as well. Um, there is the son from this other family is the only one that survives, and we get a scene of Gary bringing him with him as they get ready to get on the helicopter. And there's zombies starting to come up onto the roof now. Soldiers are shooting at them while Gary and his family's trying to escape. And again, it's just a pretty good scene. I think this movie starts off very well. It does a great job of intriguing you and pulling you in, and getting you interested in what's happening. Um, Everything looks good. Some good scenes. Some good tension. Really, I think is the word that I'm looking for there. It's very tense, and yeah, it's a fun opening. I enjoy the way this movie gets started. From there, by helicopter, they're taken to this Navy vessel, um, where they're studying this outbreak and trying to figure out what is going on. Um, Gary basically is kind of put in a position to where he has to help them, or they're going to take him and his family back off the boat. And he feels like the boat is probably the safest place to be for his family, so he agrees to help. There's one particular scientist. His name is Dr. Fosbeck, who really believes that they need to go back and find out where this all started, to find a cure, to find out what's going on and how they can stop it. They need to go back to the beginning of where this first initially broke out, which is South Korea. And so this particular scientist, these soldiers, and Gary, um, they go by helicopter or by plane to South Korea. And then, we get another pretty tense scene right off from there as they land, and they're starting to get off the plane. Zombies begin to attack there as well. And Fosbeck panics. He tries to run to get back on the plane. In the process, he trips, falls, and the gun that he has ends up going off, and he ends up shooting and killing himself. So now they've lost this scientist that they needed. Um, Gary does end up being, saved by some soldiers there before he is also attacked. And they learn that there is a secure location in Israel. And so they head that way to try to get to Israel, continue the study, and figure out what's going on. And then there we kind of get, as they get into Jerusalem, and we're getting too close to the kind of the halfway point in this film. We get the scene that I feel like this movie is the most known for. Initially, it does seem like this is a very secure location. There are these huge walls. There's a lot of soldiers. They're bringing in people to try to give them safe places to be. Um, they're not. I don't think they're really having any luck there figuring out what is going on. Um, but it does seem safe. And so Gary is able to talk with a few people. But while he's outside and he's talking with these people, we see these zombies almost beginning to form this ladder. Well, it is a ladder out of each other as they just start running up on each other and building up along the side of the building. And it's such a cool scene. I remember that being again, that was the only thing that I remembered about the film. I remember being very impressed with that and thinking that was very cool the first time I saw the film. And I think I still enjoy it just as much watching it now. I really think that scene looks good. It's just something different. And I think maybe that's what I like so much about it, is because there's so many zombie films. We've seen so many different things. We've seen walking zombies. We've seen fast zombies. We've seen characters that are more like have rabies instead of actually being zombies. I mean, there's so many different things that we've seen, but we've never seen anything like this. And so I think that is the attempt to bring something different into the movie and the story. I did appreciate it, and I thought it looked really cool. And as the zombies are forming this ladder, they're starting to climb over these walls now and get over the top, and so people are getting attacked. Sagan, one of the soldiers who is right there with Gary, ends up getting bit on the hand, and he immediately cuts her hand off to try to stop um, anything that's going her from turning as well. And he seems to have kind of figured out how long it takes for people to turn, because he's kind of counting to make sure that she's not going to turn. We've also noticed throughout this that Gary has noticed that older people and people who are sick are not being attacked by the zombies, which is something he makes a note of. That apparently the zombies are just not interested in them, and so they kind of come up with that their bodies, the elderly or those that are sick, their bodies are just not worth messing with, not infecting, not strong enough carriers, and so they seem to get ignored by these zombies, which was encouraging to me because I'm getting older. So if I'm ever in a zombie outbreak, yeah, maybe I'll be safe just because I'm old. But yeah, continue along. They get on a plane. Um, Again, I feel like the movie's it's almost 2 hours long. I don't think it feels that long. I think the pacing is really good. As they get on this next plane to go to their next location, there ends up being a zombie on board, and on the plane. It's in the bathroom, and when one of the stewardess goes to open the door, the zombie comes out and attacks her, and then of course she starts attacking, and the outbreak begins happening on the plane very, very quickly. um, Gary realizes that pretty much the only option he's got at this point is to, he may end up dying, but at least it will um, prevent any of these zombies from getting out and going on. He ends up throwing a grenade, getting a grenade and pulling the pin and throwing it, and of course it does cause the plane to crash. That scene also looks really well. I like the scene there where he throws the grenade and part of the plane explodes, and then as it's still flying, you see um, the zombies just falling out of the plane as they go. I think that also looks pretty good. um, his family and the people back on the Navy vessel where they were learn of the crash. Gary's assumed dead. His family gets relocated to Nova Scotia, but we find out that both Gary and Sagan survived this crash. Gary's very injured. He's been impaled by some metal, but he is alive, and so he and Sagan end up making it to a research facility, and they're able to get some help. Gary gets taken care of. Think he's out for like 2 or 3 days is what they end up saying in the film. I was trying to remember, but from that part there again, um, when he first comes to and kind of wakes up, these doctors don't know who he is. They're trying to figure out exactly what he's doing there and why. But he's able to get on the phone with the UN to prove who he is, and so then kind of the research and stuff begins. And he discovers that they have created this pathogen there at this facility, and that this pathogen seems to keep people from being infected. But it also seems to, they think that it will almost hide people from the zombies, because much like the zombies don't want to attack the elderly or the sick, this pathogen also kind of causes the people to just not be, the zombies just don't want them. And so they don't know that that's the case, but they're hoping that that is the case. That will help things. But the unfortunate part is this pathogen that they've created is in an area there in this facility that has been infected now, and there are multiple zombies there, and they've just kind of blocked it off. And so Gary decides that he and a small team will go and try to get this pathogen. That's the only hope, so they've got to go get it. And again, we get some good scenes there. I think some fun scenes there also. We get a couple of the people on his team. They're kind of, there's some good tension as they're trying to get through this facility. They're coming across areas where there are infected, and they're just trying to get to this pathogen. You get some good scenes there. There is a scene eventually where I believe it's Sagan and another person that's with them. They kind of end up getting blocked off and have to run back to where everyone else is so that they don't get attacked. And Gary's now kind of left by himself. But he is able to make it to the area where this pathogen is being stored. And as he gets inside and finds it, initially he's just got it and hoping to get back, but he realizes now that he's trapped, that he can't get out. And so he finally basically just decides to use a sample to inject himself with this stuff to see if it will actually work. And so after injecting himself and waiting a few minutes, he steps out to where these zombies are. And initially it's just one that he steps out to, but the zombie initially kind of stops and checks him out, but then ignores him and goes on. And so then we get a kind of a tense scene where he comes around a corner and now there's a ton of zombies there. And so he has to, just basically test this theory out one more time, but he is able to walk through them without being attacked and get back to where everyone else is, which seems to, kind of save the whole thing. He gets to be reunited with his family. This pathogen is used to create this vaccine to help people, but it does do what they hoped as far as making people seemingly invisible to these zombies, which makes evacuation safer, and then in turn makes it easier for the military to go in and try to wipe out these zombies, because now they don't have to be concerned about wiping out the uninfected population as well. So, and that's pretty much World War Z. Again, I think, I feel like I summed it up fairly quickly, but again, the performances are good. I like the score. I like the cinematography. I like the story. I do, as much as I like the whole zombies building the wall thing, I also liked this idea of this pathogen and making people invisible to the zombies. That's something else that I don't recall seeing before. So just bringing something new to the genre, I also appreciated. Yeah, I think this is a good film. Um, Yeah, I mean, I don't really feel like I have anything bad to say about this movie. I think everything in this movie is fine. It's a good film. I appreciate, like I said, the two kind of newer things to the genre. Overall, I enjoyed this movie. I don't know that it's my favorite zombie movie ever, but it's a very good one. I really do like this movie, and I think on my scale of 1 to 10, I don't know. I hate to because I don't have anything to say negatively about this film. Um, I almost feel like I could rate it really high, but at the same time, it's I enjoy it. I just don't find myself just like, oh, well, that's one of my absolute favorites. It just doesn't hit me that way, but it is a good movie. So I think on the scale of 1 to 10, I will give World War Z a 7.5. 7.5 out of 10. Good movie. If you like zombie movies, you'll probably really love this one. Um, yeah, I think it's a good one out there. It just doesn't quite, for me personally, I still think the original Night of the Living Dead. I'm a huge fan of that Dawn of the Dead remake. Some of those like that are better, but this is very good for a zombie film. So I'll say 7.5 out of 10. And now I want to know what you think. Let me know. Hit the like button today, and let me know in the comments what you think about World War Z. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. I try to put videos out every Monday and every Thursday. I am also working on occasionally having some Saturday videos come out. So yeah, subscribe to the channel, follow along with me. I post the links to the videos on social media, so feel free to share those, share the videos, help me continue to promote this channel and help it grow. Follow me on social media. I'm pretty much on everything out there: Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, X. Yeah, pretty much everything. You can just search Sean's Horror Corner to find me that way, and I do try to follow back as much as possible. But yeah, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button today, share this video, and leave me some comments and let me know what you think about World War Z. If you agree with me, you disagree with me, I want to know what you think. So yeah, that will wrap this episode up. I will be back in just a few days to talk about the Pope's Exorcist with my friend Isaiah from The Bitter Wolf, and then got some good episodes coming up next week as well. So yeah, be sure you're subscribed so you don't miss anything. Thank you so much for watching the video today. I do appreciate it, and I will see you soon.